Welcome to my humble abode, your go-to channel for skincare. I'm not a professional and I don't claim to be one. I'm just a girl who is crazy over skincare. So in today's video, we've got a bit of a battle going on. I am going to help you decide which one of the South African produced chemical sunscreens is worth your Mandelas. Both of them are trending on Instagram as an affordable sunscreen. Both are SPF 30. Dermopal goes for 99 Rand and it is 100 mils. Nakuluwetu goes for 90 Rand and it is 75 mils. Okay, so which one's gonna go first? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, Dermopal. So let's get into it. The sunscreen filters that you are seeing in Dermapol, the first is octinoxate. This gives you UVB protection, however, it is not photostable. And when I say it is not photostable, it means that it degrades and loses its effectiveness very quickly when exposed to light. And there's oxybenzone, and this is a weak UVB absorber. And it also gives you short rays UVA protection. Oxybenzone is very stable, so it will provide stability to the octinoxate. It's really included in the product more for stability of the other sunscreens than for actual UV protection. But this sunscreen agent has some controversy towards it. It is currently undergoing some testing in the US under the FDA. This testing is to gain better understanding of systematic absorption when small amounts enter the body via topical use. This doesn't mean that your health is at risk, rather that they're doing tests to confirm that your health is not at risk. If you are a rather safe than sorry person and this is a concern for you, you should opt for sunscreens that do not have this filter in it in that case. The next sunscreen filter we're seeing here is avobenzone. And avobenzone is a well-known global chemical sunscreen filter that gives you a really good UVA range protection. Its issue is that it is not very photostable, and this is where that oxybenzone comes into the formula to help with stability. And then the final sunscreen filter that's here is enzecamine. I always say, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but on this channel we butchered them skincare pronunciations. But the girl always puts it at the bottom for you, and I will explain it in detail so we're on the same page, even though it may be coming out of my mouth in a complete different way. Tomatoes, data, you get it. So enzecamine gives you UVB protection, but it is not very photostable either. Unfortunately, this ingredient also has controversy around it, also regarding concerns that the UV filter is absorbed into the body. For this reason, this filter is not approved in the US and in Japan. However, it is approved in Australia and Europe for up to 4%. It is a pity that we don't know the percentages of the sunscreen filters that are in here, because if Dermopal is using it in concentrations of more than 4%, that will not be Ayoba. And those are the sunscreen filters that are in here. The rest of the ingredients are your humectants, their emollients, their emulsifiers. The next contestant is the Nakolwethu sunscreen. The first sunscreen filter we're seeing here is octocrylene. This is a chemical sunscreen filter that gives you UVB protection, and it is incredibly photostable. But it is not a strong enough filter on its own. Then we have homosalate. This also gives you UVB protection, but it is not a strong UVB filter as well. It is usually included in the formula because it is a liquid and it helps to dissolve other hard to solubilize powder sunscreens. We're also seeing octinoxate in here. This gives you UVB protection. And like I said in the Dermopal, it is not a very photostable sunscreen. And then the final sunscreen we're seeing in here is avobenzone. As discussed in the Dermopal, avobenzone is a globally known chemical sunscreen that gives you really good UVA range protection. Avobenzone's issue is that it is not that photostable, meaning that it degrades in sunlight really quickly, which is all the more reason as to why you need to be reapplying your sunscreen. And those are the sunscreen agents that you are seeing in this girl. Both of them are definitely giving you UVA and UVB protection, but let's try them both on, and then I'm going to give you my final overall thoughts based on formulation as well as experience. Let's start with the Dermopal. Let me get closer. It's a chemical sunscreen, so I don't expect any white casts to occur. Ooh. Oh, and those lashes. You usually struggle with white cast with mineral sunscreens. Chemical sunscreens will not leave you with a white cast. Okay, and that is her. As you can see, she's very oily compared to my normal skin. Our next contender. In terms of weight, they feel quite the same, honestly. They both feel lightweight, but they are oily. There's no alcohol in here and no fragrance in both of them. So there's definitely going to be some oil in it because sunscreen filters generally are oily. So they both have now left a shine on my skin, but I can definitely say that the Dermapol side feels a lot more oilier than the Nakuluwetu side. Okay, so final thoughts. Obviously, I have actually worn these over a couple of days, both of them, and I've thoroughly tested them myself. So I'm going to give you my true opinion from a dry skin perspective. And then I also got my husband, who is oily acne prone, to test out these products with me so that I can give you his opinion from an oily person's perspective. So I found that when I put it on, it did have that oily effect, but as time passed, it did dry into my skin. So that oiliness was not really an issue. You know, my dry skin loves the oiliness, and us dry skin people love the glow that sunscreen gives. Nakuluwetu definitely dried down far better than the Dermopal did. Because of this, reapplication was far more easier with the Nakuluwetu sunscreen than with the Dermopal for me. From an oily skin perspective, my husband found that the Dermapol was much more oilier than the Nakuluwetu for him as well. He said it was easier to attempt to reapply the Nakuluwetu. On reapplication, there was more oiliness to deal with than on the first application. Dermapol on reapplication was very, very oily and remained very oily. He just felt like he needed to wash his face. He says that on extremely hot days or if he is sweating a lot, both of them would not be very comfortable to endure, but if he had to choose between the two, Nakuluwetu would be easier because it is far less oily. So from an experience point of view, from someone with dry skin, both of them won for me. Yes, this was a bit better, but only by a little bit. I would be happy to use either or. From a sensitive skin point of view, Dermapol really stung my eyes. The sunscreen agents that were here just like didn't work well with me. It was very difficult to be comfortable with her. And the Nakuluwetu was perfectly fine. I didn't have any issues with my eyes stinging. If you have sensitive skin, I actually don't suggest that you use chemical sunscreens because they can potentially irritate your skin. Ideally, your sensitive skin should be using a mineral sunscreen like zinc oxide. From an experience point of view, from someone who has oily skin, Nakuluwetu worn hands down. And finally, from a formulation perspective, this girl got too much drama with her oxybenzone and her enzacamine. Nakuluwetu, however, has no issues. There's no controversies over the sunscreen filters that are used here. And as a result, Nakuluwetu wins this battle in terms of formulation. I think that the winner is quite clear. I am truly more than happy to repurchase her when she is done. Great job, Team Nakuluwetu. And that's it. That's the battle over. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm and getting my videos seen. If you've gotten this far, then sis, you might as well subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can get alerted the next time that I post. I hope that wherever you are well, you are safe, and you are making good choices. And I can't wait to see you again.